Day 305, Wednesday, December 6th. 2 Samuel 9. 2 Samuel 9 1-13 NKJV. Now David said, "Is there still anyone who is left of the house of Saul, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake?" And there was a servant of the house of Saul whose name was Ziba. So when they had called him to David, the king said to him, "Are you Ziba?" He said, "At your service." Then the king said, "Is there not still someone of the house of Saul, to whom I may show the kindness of God?" And Ziba said to the king, "There is still a son of Jonathan who is lame in his feet." So the king said to him, "Where is he?" And Ziba said to the king, "Indeed he is in the house of Machir the son of Ammiel, in Lo-Debar." Then King David sent and brought him out of the house of Machir the son of Ammiel, from Lo-Debar. Now when Mephibosheth the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, had come to David, he fell on his face and prostrated himself. Then David said, "Mephibosheth?" And he answered, "Here is your servant." So David said to him, "Do not fear, for I will surely show you kindness for Jonathan your father's sake, and will restore to you all the land of Saul your grandfather, and you shall eat bread at my table continually." Then he bowed himself, and said, "What is your servant, that you should look upon such a dead dog as I?" And the king called to Ziba, Saul's servant, and said to him, "I have given to your master's son all that belonged to Saul and to all his house. You therefore, and your sons and your servants, shall work the land for him, and you shall bring in the harvest, that your master's son may have food to eat. But Mephibosheth your master's son shall eat bread at my table always." Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Then Ziba said to the king, "According to all that my lord the king has commanded his servant, so will your servant do. As for Mephibosheth," said the king, "he shall eat at my table like one of the king's sons." Mephibosheth had a young son whose name was Miha. And all who dwelt in the house of Ziba were servants of Mephibosheth. So Mephibosheth dwelt in Jerusalem, for he ate continually at the king's table, and he was lame in both his feet. Daily Deep Dive, the UCG reading program states, in 2 Samuel 9, we read of David wanting to show the kindness of God. Verse 3, to a son of Saul's son Jonathan in fulfillment of David and Jonathan's covenant of friendship. Compare 1 Samuel 20:14-15. In learning of Jonathan's crippled son, 2 Samuel 4:4, David sends for him immediately. Mephibosheth has good reason to be afraid at this point, as the founders of new dynasties in ancient times often killed the children of former rulers to eliminate contenders for the throne. But David reassures him, promising to restore his family estate and that he will be like an adopted son, eating at the king's table for the rest of his life. Perhaps we can see in the story of Mephibosheth an illustration of our lives under God's grace, going from nothing, undeserving of blessing, living under threat of danger, to complete security with royal treatment at the table of the King of the universe. Verse 4. The John Gill commentary includes, "Here it may be his mother's relations lived, and here he might dwell in obscurity, and lie hid from the knowledge of David, who, it might be feared by his friends, would have dispatched him, had he known where he was." Some take it to be an appellative, and render it, as a Barbinal observes, without anything, as if he was so poor that he had not anything to support himself with. No mention as yet is made of his name, perhaps because the historian had given it before, 2 Sa_4-4.